So the mediation between the U.S. women's national team and the U.S. Soccer Federation has broke down. And I know there's going to be a million comments about FIFA paying federations. This isn't about that. Don't comment about that. Or, I mean, you can, but don't confuse yourself. This isn't about FIFA at all. This is about the U.S. Soccer Federation. So, and the U.S. women's national team lawsuit trying to get equal pay. And if you're wondering, well, don't they make less money than the men's team does for the federation? You would be wrong. At least in recent history, you would be wrong. The women have actually made a bit more recently. So, yeah, I've got an SI article here by Grant Wall. According to the U.S. women's player spokesperson, we entered this week's mediation with representatives of the USSF full of hope. Today we must conclude these meetings sorely disappointed in the Federation's determination to persuade fundamentally discriminatory workplace conditions and behavior. It's clear that the USSF, including its board of directors and president Carlos Corderio, fully intended to continue to compensate women's players less than men. They will not succeed. We want all our fans, sponsors, and peers around the world and women everywhere to know we are undaunting and blah, blah, blah. So going to trial. The U.S. soccer spokesperson also made a statement. We said numerous times our goal is to find a resolution during mediation. We had hoped we would be able to address the issue in a respectful manner and reach an agreement. Unfortunately, instead of allowing mediation to proceed in considerate manner, plaintiffs' counsel took an aggressive and ultimately unproductive approach that follows months of presenting misleading information to the public in an effort to perpetuate confusion. So he's making a civility trolling argument. Oh, the plaintiffs weren't considerate and they didn't have their manners. Oh my god. I don't know what I dislike more, nuance trolling, concern trolling, or civility trolling. We always know there's more we can do. We value our players and have continually shown that by providing them with compensation and support that exceeds any other women's team in the world, despite inflammatory statements from their spokesperson, which are intended to paint our actions inaccurately and unfairly, we are undaunted in our efforts to continue discussions in good faith. Alright, so obviously more civility trolling and it's like inflammatory language. Wow. Okay. I haven't found any public inflammatory language maybe behind the scenes, but come on, grow up, grow up. You guys are adults in a back room. No kids can hear it. You can't use the "what about the children" argument. No, it's fine. If someone swears, it's fine. Um, Other than that, though, like they could prove their point immediately, or any of their points, by just citing something. You could cite them using inflammatory language publicly. You could cite, them sowing misinformation in the public discourse or whatever they said. Like, okay, what information did they put in the public discourse? Man, but I digress. In June, they agreed to mediation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, so this is where this was the most important development for sure. In recent weeks, U.S. Soccer has gone public with what it claims is evidence that the Federation paid more to the women's national team than the men's national team over the past 10 years. The players' unions of the women's national team and even the men's national team dispute those figures. What's more is, as reported by Politico, U.S. Soccer has hired Washington lobbyists to try to persuade lawmakers and presidential candidates on figures they have released publicly. So, listen, why are you buying lobbyists for this nonsense? Look, I haven't seen these numbers, but if the men's national team is disputing these as well, and I'm pretty sure their contract's up next year, so they could theoretically just use this as a way to get more compensation for themselves. But they aren't doing that. They have no reason to lie. The the men's national team. And also the part about the lobbyists. Look, if you have to hire lobbyists to persuade, political leaders to your point, you're you're probably trying to use some smoke and mirrors. And again, not all lobbyists are bad. That blah blah blah. Um, I mean, obviously, some lobbyists are bad. Like, let's say, cigarette companies have lobbyists. Huh? Do you think they're pushing fully accurate information? I don't think so. But then again, some, you know, like a nurses union might have a lobbyist. And, what they probably aren't doing anything nefarious or malicious or something like pushing cigarettes on to basically everyone or trying to hide health things about cigarettes. They probably, like, a nurses union lobbyist probably isn't trying to hurt the public, but this, to me, this smells more like a lobbyist being hired to try to get out of paying people. Like, that's what it seems like. Um, but yeah. And also, one more thing about all this. So, if, how do I say this? Okay. So, the women are claiming the U.S. Soccer Federation is against paying them equally, compensating them equally good hotels, services, staff pay, amount of staff, field condition, maintenance, all of this. So let's say that was somehow not true. Let's say the U.S. was offering those things. You know what they could do? Say, they're lying, we are offering those things, but they want more than the men. That's what they could say. But since they haven't said that at all, and they've tried to push these, like, clearly bogus numbers instead, it's clear they're the ones lying here. It's very clear. Or, trying to get out of paying people. And I mean, yeah, I get it. It's like, it's a capitalist organization who tries to make money as much as they can and tries to get away with paying people less than what other people are paid. Honestly, here's what the U.S. should do, the U.S. Soccer Federation. Okay, ready for this? Pay the women equally. Talk ad nauseum. Oh, we're offering equal pay. Here's equal pay. Blah 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 blah. It's the same. And then just don't compensate, like, the U.S. women's staff as much. I mean, you already aren't, but you just continue to do that as well. And then you get the rhetorical win in the media where I don't know why I'm giving the dark side strategy here, strategy advice, but yeah, you can get the rhetorical win in the media, and you still don't have to spend as much money, which is what a private organization wants. They want to cut corners, cut costs wherever they can. That's what they do. What the U.S. Soccer Federation seems to have done instead is they've tried to use the smoke and mirrors and play the hide the ball game where they talk about the contract structures and how the women make more guaranteed money by a significant amount than the men, maybe like double what the men make, but they make, 6 times less or something around there, 5 times less maybe, based on performance. So if the men win, they get a much larger bonus and they end up making more money, assuming that they have even a halfway decent season. I suppose if the men lost every game, they or lost 3/4 of their games, they would make less money than the women. But in practice, the women, even if they win every game, they'll make less than the men. That's what we've seen over the last few years. And I'm not sure how to keep the contract structures different. Um, the women kind of really want and need more guaranteed pay due to the fact that they um, have less stable, large incomes from club soccer. So they want some more guaranteed money, but in practice, they're making so much less that they have to just get double the win bonus or something, and then it might even out. But I get that it's harder to just make it equal than it seems, but you have to make the outcome somewhat more equal. And if you the US Soccer Federation could just be like, "Hey, here's the same contract as the men." They could do that. The women would make a lot more than the men if they did that though, because the women win way more. They don't want to do that. But the crazy thing is the women aren't asking for that. They're asking for similar guaranteed pay to what they're making now, so more guaranteed than the men with less compensation for wins. Or that's my interpretation of what they're asking for, but I'm not sure. And also, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, that's it. I've got to go. I've got to go be a person. I've got to go see a family. I've got to shower. I've got to, pack. And I've got to do this all in like a few minutes. So here we go.